Hey everybody, don't forget to check out the disclaimer. And this special double build custom video comes to you by my generous supporters on Patreon. If they got to see preview images and work in progress shots, as well as getting little minifigures when they donate up to $10 each. If you want to join them, all you gotta do is follow the link below. Now let's do the theme song. Hello my friends, this is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with a commission that I have been putting off for a ridiculously long time. You know how long it's been? I bought the base toy to do this commission, to do this figure for myself before Toys R Us was even going out of business. That's how long it's been. It's been so long that Speed Up Jesse, also known as Medicon Collector, kind of beat me to the punch in doing the same thing, although I did independently come up with the idea myself. Anyway, this is actually also a commission for Deborah, the one who finally got me to actually do it. It is, of course, none other than Ridley. Of all of the iconic villains in Nintendo's pantheon, Ridley has to be the most unironically terrifying. There is absolutely nothing cute about this guy whatsoever. He is just a big, nasty, alien dragon monster who murdered the protagonist's parents in cold blood and runs the space pirate organization ruthlessly. This is not the kind of guy that you'd ever want to go go-karting with or playing fun little sports mini-games. Nope, this is just an unashamed, monstrous villain. And you know what? That's just fine. Not every villain needs to have a soft spot. Heck, I was about to say that maybe Ganondorf might have had a soft spot, but I can't really think of a time that he's ever been soft, so maybe you can keep company with that guy. Alright, so the base figure is going to be NECA's Xenomorph. The black Xenomorph in the back is the one that Deborah sent me. It is the Soldier Xenomorph, although, I believe it might also be called the Ultimate Warrior Xenomorph. The one from Aliens, you know, the sequel. The one up front is the, it's a Toys R Us exclusive figure, which was called the Thermal Vision Warrior Alien. I believe that's what they called it, yeah. So, yeah, there's so many alien variants, it's hard to keep track of them. For a while, I thought my glow-in-the-dark version was a version of Big Chap, but it turns out that it's not Big Chap. I thought it was, but it's not. It's the Warrior. But yeah, so because of that, I'm going to call these Soldier and Warrior Ridley. The one made for Deborah is the Soldier one, and the one that I kept for myself is Warrior. So, yeah, that's the discussion of the base toys, so let's get down to actually, you know, customizing them. I guess the best place to start is probably the heads, and these two figures are actually built very differently. I think the Warrior Alien that I have is of a significantly later make because it's built in a different way and is kind of a better figure. I gotta say, I really like customizing the Warrior Alien a lot more than the Soldier Alien. I think NECA needed some time to refine the process, and the black alien that Deborah sent me is one of their earlier models where I hadn't quite figured it out yet. The Soldier has like some of the joints, particularly in the waist and the hips, are kind of loose and don't want to stay in place. And the way it's built, like the ratchets and the shoulders are way too tight. The Warrior Alien that I have, it was a much more consistent build. It just, you know, worked a lot better. Like, all the joints were consistent, they were pin disc with a good amount of friction, nothing was too tight or too loose. So, if anybody wants me to do this again, try and hunt down the later releases of the Warrior Alien, because some of the early Xenos, they just don't work quite as well as custom fodder. Sorry about that, I went off on a tangent about the figures again. So, for the glow-in-the-dark alien, the Warrior, I had to cut a little bit out from the neck because he had kind of a turkey neck going on, and really has a much skinnier one. This actually gave me the ability to open the mouth significantly wider. And the lower jaws did need a little bit of adjusting. I cut off some of that extraneous cheek meat that they have to look like scary sinews, and I'd also had to remove their teeth so I could have a better anchoring point. However, I didn't get rid of the little mouth that's inside of there, because it made a great anchoring point for a reptilian tongue. Yeah, I sculpted over the little mouth to look more like a regular tongue, so that when Ridley opens his mouth to roar, he can actually have his tongue waggling out there like he does in the game. It's kind of a cool thing. Of course, the head had to be built in stages. Here you see the lower jaw and the tongue, and once all of that hardened, then I used foil to make the upper part of the head, because I didn't want it to, it's like, while it was hardening, slump down, and then I'd end up with a curved beak Ridley. We don't want that. And the funny crocodilian-faced Ridley was completed. So, yeah, that's how he basically looks. Like, Ridley very clearly drew a lot of inspiration from the Xenomorph in the first place. Like really basically just looks like a Xenomorph dragon. And that's because the Metroid franchise drew a lot of inspiration from aliens, because everything draws inspiration from aliens. It's kind of a masterpiece of sci-fi, horror, and action. Okay, so there was some uniqueness. Deborah also sent me this dragon figure. I have no idea what this dragon is, if it's from something or if it's just a generic toy, but she wanted me to use its wings, which are a good size and shape for Ridley's. I had to disconnect them from the figure and then drill holes in the soldier's back so that I could attach them there. I also filled in all the holes and gaps in the wings with epoxy so that when painted over they would look much more solid. We'll see what they look like a bit later. As for the wings on my Ridley figure, I only had one pair of dragon wings, so I had to be a little bit more creative with mine. I used these Lego ball joints and stuck them onto the back of the warrior xenomorph, and then used foam to cut out the shape of of Ridley's wings in foam. Of course, here I actually cut out the individual fingers and then put a thinner piece of foam in between them, so that it actually has the membranous effect of Ridley's bat-like wings. There were also a little bit more sculpting details, like Deborah's xenomorph needed to have the little sword thing sculpted onto the end of its tail because only my alien had it, and both of the aliens needed to have 4 fingers because they only had 3 fingers. Well, the warrior did have a 4th finger, but it was a tiny little pinky and needed to be bigger. And then, of course, needed 2 big old toes and a dew claw on the back of the foot. Of course, you can take the feet off of the glow-in-the-dark one, but, it's basically the same thing. So this is what the two of them all look like, with all their parts painted up and everything. I wanted to put them together at the same time. And just in case everything's too small on your screen, here's just Deborah's Ridley with by itself, so that the camera's not zoomed out quite so much and you can see the parts a little bit better. So with that done, let's reassemble both of the Ridley figures and take a look. And there we go! Now, like I said, the aforementioned loose hips and waist does make it a little bit difficult to stand the soldier Ridley, but it is doable as long as the knees are bent. And it's not like Ridley ever stands up straight, because, his posture has always been crouched over like a dragon. Like I think he originally started out as a quadruped, and he was just genetically engineered to have hands, is what I'm getting at. Now, he scales really well with the World of Nintendo Samus figure, although if you want Smash Brothers scaling where he's smaller, then you would use the Figma Samus, which is larger. And then, of course, there's what my Ridley looks like. It's, it looks pretty much the same, except that the wings are foam, so they, the different wings, and the tail's a bit longer too. But I do like how the different kinds of joints that they use in the later edition of the Xenomorph figure does make it easier to stand and pose. They have this, technically they have the same degree of posability, but this one is a little bit more stable. So yeah, like I said, any future Ridley figures should really be made out of this mold or another mold from around its time. But yeah, that's just awesome. I really do love this figure. The base toy is awesome all on its own, but then make it into a character you truly like Ridley, who's never seen the official toy, and dang, right? That's so cool looking, especially when you have him all crouched over like he's in his ship waiting to arrive on SR-388 so he can just bite your head off. Oh god, I really wish it was an official toy, but hey, now me and Deborah have some. So thank you all for watching this video. This is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.